Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a really fun project for you today. Take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this great? This is the original old attic windows block, and we have taken it and used it in a panel. Now, let me just tell you, I love the attic windows block, and originally it was made just using regular fabric, so your regular fabric was here, and then your window was on the side, and so it gave it some dimension. And they just used any kind of printed fabric. But one day there was a man who came to visit me in my studio, and he had used the attic windows block on a panel. And it was a panel of Santa. It was like an outdoor scene where Santa was out by a tree and it was snowing and that sort of thing. And so we were able to go ahead, he cut it up, figured out how to cut up the panel and made each block into an attic window. And it was just such a cool idea that I really wanted to show you. So today we're going to do it with this panel. It's called Real Tree Deer Quilt Panel, and it is made by Cycle Enterprises. And I just think it's just a fun panel. I love how it came out with the two deer looking through the window, looking inside. I just think it came out really great. So why don't I show you how to do this? So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is one panel, and here's our panel right here. And you can see this is it, all whole. This is what it looks like before we cut it up. And it's just a great little panel, really fun. And of course, you can use any panel, and hopefully you'll be able to adapt what I'm telling you to whatever panel you choose. And then you're also going to need 3/4 of a yard of your white, 3/4 of a yard of your brown, 3/4 of a yard of your black, and surprisingly, 3/4 of a yard for your border. So just remember that number 3/4, you'll be able to have it. And of course, this is for this size quilt, which is, we're going to cut the panel into 20 blocks, and it makes a quilt that is 56 by 58. Okay, so now we're going to make the deer tree panel, and when it comes to you, it's going to come bagged like this. And so you want to pull it out. You want to open it up. And then the first thing you want to do is trim off your selvage edges. Just trim those off. Trim off your white edges on the sides and the top and bottom so that you have just a plain panel, because you want to measure the panel. Now I have one here that I've done that. And when your panel, whatever it measures, you want to make sure that it's easily divisible by a number. So, I wanted straight numbers. So this with the selvage edges off was 36. I took it down to 35. 35 for me was a good measurement because it's 7 times 5 is 35. So I knew that I could get 7-inch wide blocks on this. The length on this was 45, and I took it down to 40. So I took a bit off the top and a bit off the bottom so that it would square up, because 4 times 10 is 40, and now I'm going to be able to have a 7 by 10-inch block. So you just want to make sure when you cut your panel that it becomes easily divisible in numbers. So what I did then was I went ahead and folded it in half. You can fold it as many times as you want, or if you're nervous about it, you can leave it straight. Do a straight cut. I'm just going to fold this in half, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut at 10 inches because my length is the 4 by 10. Remember, it's 40. So I know I can get 10-inch squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Always good to count. And we're going to go 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. And 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this last piece should be 10 also, so we're going to check that right here. And we've got 10. Perfect. So now what I do, now that I'm getting into this, I'm going to grab some Post-it notes right here. And okay, I got my Post-it notes. So then I'm going to label my rows. That's the first thing I want to do. So I've got row 1 here, row 2, and then I've got 3 and 4, and 4. And any little piece of paper will do. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut our rows. So we want to keep these in line. And it looks like I'm going to have to pin these on here because my paper's not sticking. You don't really want to get these confused up. Actually, here's a really good tip. If when you start this, you should take a picture of the panel with your cell phone, and then as you start, if you get mixed up, you have that picture to refer back to so that you can know where your pieces go. So now we're ready to cut this first row. It's 35 inches, so we know that's going to be a 7-inch square. 7 times 5 is 35. I want to go with the bigger square. You want to be sure and open it up to make sure that all your pieces work out, just right, and your measurements are right, and there's no fold in the middle. So we're going to count over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like this. And we're going to make a cut. And 7. So now what I do is I stack these up one on top of the other like this with my last piece on the bottom, just like this. All right, so you're going to do that to all your rows. I have this row done, and I'm just going to show you how to make the block with this row because I have other pieces over here cut out. So now for the window frame, you're going to frame your windows, and what I like to do is I'm going to take my my 3/4 of a yard, and these are all 2.5-inch strip cuts. So I'm going to take a cut like this, and this is going to be the bottom. This is the bottom of the frame right here, where it looks like the light is coming in. And so the width of our block is 7. So these are going to be 7 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to come across 7 like this. And this is kind of a quicker way to get a lot of cuts out of a piece. If you come in the width, then all these little pieces you go ahead and cut 2.5, and then you get it's a lot quicker to get all your strips that you need for the bottoms of your blocks. So I'm cutting, this will just about be all. I think I need 4 more after this, but this should be pretty close to what I need, but it'll be enough to show you on this first row. So then what I do is I leave this row pinned together. I leave it pinned together just like this, and I take these over to the sewing machine, and I am going to add one of these strips to the bottom of each square. And I'm going to leave them pinned actually while I do it. So let me show you how I do that so that you can see how this goes together. It really goes together very quickly because we're, everything stays together and it doesn't get mixed up. And that really helps me because I tend to be, you guys know I'm a little angly challenged. So I'm going to actually put my solid piece on the bottom like this. And sew straight across here, 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to flip this back, and I'm going to do the next one. And really, you guys, do what works for you. If it works better for you to lay out the row and just pick it up and put down each piece, you can do that. Mine is, this way happened to work for me. I was able to do it really quickly, and usually I get real confused on these things, but I was able to keep it right together. And just keep on sewing. All right, now here we are at the end of this one, and we've gotten the bottom piece sewn on all of our blocks, and we're going to come over and we're going to press them down. So let me scoot my Post-it notes out of the way, and I'm just going to roll this edge over like this. Oh, let me just put this down here. All right, so we're just going to keep pressing these till they're all pressed nice and flat. And then we're going to come back. Now we still have our row intact. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare the piece for the side. The side is going to be your darker, or your more shaded side, and I have some strips cut here. And what you want to do then is you want to measure this block with the added piece on. So we're going to go ahead and measure that. Oh, here we go. And it measures 12. And so we're going to cut some 12-inch pieces. And you can go ahead and cut these for your whole quilt. You're going to make 20 blocks, so you know you need 20 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm just going to do a couple to show you how I do this. And then you need to prepare these blocks. These blocks are prepared by dog-earing one of the corners. And what I mean by dog-earing is you take a 2.5-inch strip, and we are using the same fabric that we used on the bottom, and we're going to sew it to the bottom of our strip right here. So this is the piece. See, this is your piece right here, and we're just snowballing this corner. So this is the attic windows made easy, really made easy, because there's usually a Y seam in here, but we're just going to snowball the corner right there. You want to make sure that it's going the right direction, so I always lay it up on here, because the look you're going for is this look right here. So you want this to curve down like here, which means we're going to sew, we're going to put this on here and sew from this side down here. And I have finger pressed a little line on here, and I'll just do 2 of them real quick so we can see how that works. And again, because I'm an assembly line sewer, I like to just do all of these and have a whole stack of these to work with. And then as I put my panel pieces together, they're all clipped in rows. And so they're all ready to go. You know, I can just sit and put a side piece on every single one. All right. So you're going to do that with all of yours. I've got mine done with 2 here. I'm going to clip these apart and trim off this extra piece out here. And you do want to make sure that they're going the right way before you trim off, because that would just be terrible. So now I'm just going to press this down like this on both of these. And then you can take your whole stack back over to the sewing machine with you, and then just start putting these on the side. So we're going to do these now, and I'm just going to take a couple of these. And if you have to move this paper over, I move it over here to this side, so it gives you a little more leeway. And then I'm just going to put them on like this. So I peel that back, lay this on here. So see, this is matching up right here. This bottom part right here is matching right up along there. And we're just going to sew 1/4 inch right along that seam. So then when we open it, it'll have that attic window look. All right, so here we go. Make sure I'm lined up here. And we'll add one more on. And you would go ahead and add all of yours on. I'm just going to do a couple so that I can show you how to actually finish this whole block. There we go. So now this block, let me show you. Now this block has the attic window look to it. See, like this. It's got that look to it. And this is the attic window block. We chose to sash it, which means we're going to add one more little black strip right here, this piece. And this is actually going to go on this side of the block. So we can just lay this on here. And again, you can go ahead and cut them 12. I'm just going to take these over here and sew 2 down so that we have our whole block. Whenever you add a sashing onto a block, you should always have, the sashing should always be on the top. And that's just because those feed dogs take in more fabric, and you'll end up with a little bit of wavy borders or sashings. So your borders are the same. Make sure you sew your border pieces on the top of your block. All right. So let me iron this back. And then, this is your finished block for your panel, just the finished block. And so I have a row of these done, and I want to show you how they lay out, because it's really fun to see when it all starts coming together. So here's my first row. So once you get your piece on all your all your pieces on your blocks like this, then you can lay them out and see it starting to go together. And this is how you're going to sew them together, just like this. So this black piece becomes the sashing, just like that. And that's the whole top first row. And then here comes row 2. Let's see, so you just line them up. And then in between these rows, we went ahead and added another sashing. So before we sew the row together, you're going to lay that sashing in here like this, and you're going to put it on. And this is that row right here on these blocks. So you can really see how this is starting to come together. It's looking awesome. I mean, it's just such a great idea, great way to use your panels. Really fun block. Don't forget that the attic window can be used in all kinds of quilt blocks. You're going to go ahead and finish it up. You're going to sew your squares together, all your top row, all the way down. Add your border. It's a little 4-inch border, and it just completes the whole project. And we sure hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make an attic window out of a panel from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.